No.
No Bobby? I thought Bobby said he was going to record.
Hello and welcome everybody to Flicker Effect, episode 348. We are recording this and broadcasting live on November 8th, 2020, Sunday night. Lots to talk about this week because, it's been we've had to take 2 weekends off, so we've been on a little bit of a break. So yeah, there's going to be plenty to discuss, I'm sure.
We were on a break.
We were on a break. By the way, I'm David Lotz. Joining me, as always, is Joshua Wilson.
Hey, everybody.
And Michelle Hillard.
Hi, everyone. Hello.
Bobby wanted to join us. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it to the show, but I know he wishes he were here. We will hold down the fort in the meantime.
Life happens. Life happens.
Yeah, life happens. Oh, really quick.
Life happens. Bobby's drunk. Let's just put it this really. Let's let everybody know. Bobby's drunk somewhere, and that's really what's happening.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's been a week. Before we get to the week and everything else that we want to talk about, a little housekeeping. As I mentioned, most episodes, I haven't mentioned it yet this episode. One of the ways that you can experience Flicker Effect is via podcast form. But if you guys have been looking for the podcast, yes, there has been a bit of a gap in in shows. Let's just say technical reasons. There hasn't been the more recent episodes haven't been going up on the podcast feed. So that'll be changing with this episode. All episodes should be going to the feed from here on out. My apologies for that. If you are listening to this and you want to kind of check out some of those episodes that didn't make it to the feed, they are available on YouTube. We do stream every episode on YouTube, youtube.com/Flicker Effect. And then they stay there. You don't just have to watch it live. You can watch them whenever. So you can check them out there. But yeah, just saying, I'm sorry. I'm sorry about the podcast feed. It is coming back.
We all hold you accountable, David.
It is my fault, I guess.
No, it is.
Yeah, guys, it has been a week.
It's been a week.
I mean,
it's been a day already, honestly. Yeah,
it has.
I mean, I hope he rests in peace, Alex Trebek. You were a staple in my house.
Yeah, I will echo that. Like, I remember growing up watching Jeopardy every single night, typically with my dad.
Yep.
Like a lot. It was on a lot. And I find myself going into previous episodes now on Netflix or Hulu, and I'll just put it on and start watching Jeopardy. And he is definitely going to be missed. It was definitely a sad story to hear.
Yeah.
And then, since we last did a show, the other big loss was Sean Connery.
Yeah.
We haven't had a chance to talk about that.
Sean Connery.
That was a week ago now, right?
Yeah, because it was the day after Halloween or Halloween Day.
Like, it was that weekend. I think.
It was Halloween weekend.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. We had our own little tribute today. We watched a little Thunderball.
We did.
I
hadn't watched Thunderball in a long time.
I didn't watch Thunderball.
Yeah.
I forgot that was the one with Domino in it, honestly. I was like, oh yeah, it's Domino. That's right. It's been a while.
I've been thinking about going back and watching like Dr. No, Goldfinger, like some of the very first ones. I didn't know this, and like when I was looking it up and going through my emotions of James Bond and Sean Connery and all the memories of having and stuff like that. When he first started doing James Bond, they had a James Bond movie every year. Like it was like 62, 63, 64, 65. Like the first 4 or 5 was like once a year. I was just like, man, that is a lot of work. That is a lot of work.
He was moving for years just on Bond alone, let alone any other projects he did. But yeah, like they did Dr. No. And I think as Dr. No released, they started Russia with Love. Mostly, and then they were kind of holding their breath. Like, if Dr. No fails, we're not going to keep going on Russia with Love. And then it did really well. And so they kept filming the second one, and then after that was Goldfinger, and then what we watched today, Thunderball, and then my favorite one, which is You Only Live Twice, or You Only Die
That's
Once.
one of my
Which
favorites
one is
too.
You only die
No,
once.
you only
You
live
only
twice.
live 4
You only live
times.
twice.
It
Yeah.
could be anything.
My brain's just going. Yeah,
Yeah,
You Only Live
It's
Twice.
You Only Live
When they're in
Twice.
Japan.
It's the one
that's of my
after
favorite,
Thunderball,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, when he's in Japan.
Yeah.
Where he gets killed in the beginning of it, and then he comes back and he marries the girl in Japan. That one's actually I love that one.
So,
Yeah,
I
that's
gotta
a-
watch
that's a
that again.
fantastic
It's been a
one.
while. I mean, I've seen them, but
That one's really good. That one's probably hands down my favorite. I will say Doctor No is a second favorite, but that one's probably my absolute favorite one. But yeah, no, Sean
See, I,
Connery. Oh
Yeah, I grew up. I mean, my dad was a huge Goldfinger fan, so like,
yeah.
and that song alone was like always blasting in the house when he was in a Goldfinger mood. It was like Goldfinger. Yeah,
like,
so
we
that was
watched-
literally.
I grew up. We
Literally all
watched
the
a Bond
time.
movie at least one Bond movie almost every weekend, if not every other weekend, if not every weekend. There's always a Bond movie on. Usually a Sunday afternoon. It was usually was like my parents
cool.
like, you know what? We did all the chores for the weekend. We've mowed the yard. We've done all the things. We've run all the errands. We're gonna sit down. We're gonna have a Sunday afternoon cocktail. And we're gonna throw in a Bond movie. And that's what we did. That's how I grew up like that. I loved getting to watch Bond movies as a kid. And we watched them over and over and over and over again. But I love
So
them.
good, so good. But it's like with him passing, and then obviously the resurfacing of a lot of his interviews and kind of how batshit crazy he could really come off as sometimes. While rewatching the interview with I don't remember who the woman's name is, but talking about how he feels it was okay to slap a woman if she was, acting out of sorts. And I'm sitting there and I'm listening to this and I'm watching him. And she's like, "So you think that's okay?" He's like, "Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do feel that. It's totally fine. Like, my opinion hasn't changed in the matter." And I'm like, "Dude, if she doesn't watch it, she's gonna get slapped right now. Like, this is fucking nuts." Like,
Yeah,
he was
I mean,
out
like,
of his mind.
it's like you don't want to like apologize or walk over it, but I will say there is something that's lost from generation to generation, and unfortunately it's what he grew up with. Like, it doesn't excuse it, but at the same time, like, it explains it. Like, it was just a different generation.
Yeah, but he was married. I'm
but-
not giving any excuses. And like, generational thing is hard to like argue when it comes to, today and stuff like that. But
To today's
was
standards, it
bringing it
is.
up. Yeah, I was more bringing it up just for the humor aspect of it in regards
Yeah.
to like how kind of off the cuff he kind of was at times.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
aside from that, like, I still love the guy. I was saddened to hear of his passing, but he had a fantastic life. Left a huge legacy of entertainment for us to all appreciate and enjoy. And he hung in there till he was 90. Like,
Yeah.
that's not
And
that's
he-
not shying away at anything.
Yeah, he was quite the firecracker. But yeah, if you think about how much he did in his career when he was younger, but even in his older age, he did a lot. Like, he knocked out a ton of stuff. Hunt for Red October. What was that one he did with Catherine Zeta-Jones, the heist one? I forget.
Entrapment.
Entrapment, The Rock,
Entrapment.
of course.
Entrapment, The Rock,
The Rock is epic.
Highlander. Let's not forget about
So
Highlander.
yeah,
The Highlander. Oh, that's right.
like I just looked up his IMDb because I was just had this thought. I'm like, what was the last thing he really did?
Finding Foster.
Finding
Nope.
Forrester?
Forster.
No, he did
No,
the League of
Finding Forrester,
Extraordinary
it
Gentlemen was
Yep.
That's
Was
right.
also
That
his
did
last
came
picture.
after that. That's right.
but
That
it,
was his last credit.
yeah, like that's the thing that blows my mind. He's
Wow.
got a couple other like he narrated a couple things.
Okay.
Voiceovers and stuff like that.
Yeah, but it looks like his last like on-screen credit is League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, which I'm like,
Wow.
man, it's really been that
know.
long.
It's been that long.
Like that's crazy.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
crazy when you really think about that, because I it's kind of like notorious that I learned about that where he was, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen was his last on-screen performance, and the movie is notoriously talked about as being absolutely horrible, and it wasn't great, but I thought it would have been if they had taken it a little bit more seriously, it could have branched out to be a really fun series, but that's notwithstanding. But yeah, that was his last on-screen performance
Yeah.
was, Alan Quartermain.
God, yeah, I haven't watched Finding Forrester in forever either.
He should have stopped at
Good
Finding
one.
Forrester.
That was a really,
He should have stopped at
That was a
Finding
really
Forrester.
good one. Damn, that was a good film.
Yeah, that was a fantastic film. That was a really
Yeah.
fun film.
I don't know that I've seen Finding Forrester, to be honest.
Really?
No, I don't think I have.
Oh,
What, son?
that's a really good one.
Yeah.
No, that one's really awesome. It's a good one. It's a very good story. Like it's very, yeah. No, that's a solid performances, great writing.
Well, anyway, it's been a little bit.
It's the depressing news we start with.
Yeah. What are
Now,
we
Michelle,
doing?
you'll remember this. I'm going to bring this up before we move on from
No,
this.
please,
But do you
go
remember
ahead.
him and Darby O'Gill and the Little People?
Heck yes! Oh my god, that's right. Yeah, and then it's just funny because it's like you think about, and that was one of his earliest ones, wasn't it?
Mhm.
That's one of his earliest
Yeah,
credits.
that was in '59. I think
Yeah,
that was made in '59. And it's a
yeah.
Disney movie, too.
It is. Yeah, I know. That one's a good
It is a
one.
Disney.
I haven't watched that one in, oh god, jeez, I don't think I've seen that one since I was in high school. Last time I watched that film.
Yeah, that was.
It's a good
I
one.
haven't watched that one in a long time, but it's like the fact that he's singing. I mean,
Oh
I
yeah,
think he's in like. I mean, it's just so back in the day. It's like that movie was. I remember watching it when I was really, really little. Like
yeah.
really, really little. It's just crazy that film was.
I remember it used to be on the Disney Channel a lot for. It was weird because I feel like it
Mhm.
was on at Christmas, but then obviously it was on again for
Yeah,
St. Patrick's Day. But it always seemed to be on at
yeah.
Christmas too. What was that? Huh, anyways.
Mm.
Yeah, it was weird.
So it's been a little bit since it ended, but I wanted to start off by mentioning that Michelle and I finally finished The Boys.
Oh, that's right.
Um, Michelle, what did you
Hey,
think?
there you go.
So I think we kind of talked a little bit of our overall feelings thus far with the second season of The Boys. I think we like it. I will say I'm liking the quicker character development that we're getting out of some of the side characters in the group. I think those are really awesome. I kind of like that we're just keeping the momentum going there. I think though that last episode, I don't know, of all the episodes for the season 2, that last episode was actually probably one of my least favorite ones. As weird as that sounds. It just kind of ended, it almost ended with a bow on the box. And then of course they opened it up because there is going to be a season 3 because they announced that during Comic-Con, virtual Comic-Con this year.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. It was a weird ending for me. I was kind of like, really? We're going this route. Okay. All right. Cool.
I mean, yeah, without talking about spoilers,
Yeah.
you're saying it kind of had like a more of a finality to it
It did, and
that you didn't like.
I didn't like the kind of finality to it, but I'll be honest, like I just didn't really think I enjoyed the whole aspect of, as weird as it sounds, the wife kind of coming back and coming in and coming out and coming in and coming out kind of situation. I don't know. That didn't play as well for me as I thought that was going to. I thought I was going to be more excited about that situation, and I just really wasn't.
No, I really liked that final episode.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, as we talked about before with the season in general, we didn't watch, okay, to backtrack, the show dropped 3 episodes right when the season started.
Yep.
We didn't watch those 3 like right off the bat. We kind of watched one like one week and one the next week, and finally got around to the 3rd episode. I remember those first 2 episodes going, man, this season is kind of off to like a funky start for me. And then watched that 3rd episode and I was like, and Bobby warned us, but yeah, I watched that 3rd episode and I was like, okay, now I'm definitely back in. Not that I was out, but back in. And the season from there on out was solid for me. Like every episode was back to me feeling like, okay, I really want to see the next one. I mean, life gets in the way, and I unfortunately didn't binge it. I wish I could have. I mean, they were releasing them every week after that anyway. But no, I thought this season was solid. I really enjoyed it. I will say there was, and again, we're talking about spoilers, and I guess what I'm about to say, it's debatable if it's a spoiler, but I'll dance around it and say this. There was one thing that I've seen addressed about the season, like about a reveal about a character. That's all I'll say. And you guys can probably guess what I'm talking about. And I would see it handled by news outlets and such, like, hey, this was a big reveal. And at the same time, I remember reading before the season ever started that this character was this kind of person. So
Okay.
I knew it all along, and and it's not like I read it in like spoilery material. It was just like, I don't know where I read it. I saw it on a couple outlets. I remember before the season started, almost like it was just kind of put out there as press releases about like, hey, this is a new character in the show, and I remember going. And then as the season started, I could tell that it wasn't kind of the thing that was going to be revealed immediately. And I was like, wait, should I have known that? Like, now I'm annoyed that I knew this. And like, were there a lot of people that watched it and didn't know?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I didn't know until the reveal, basically, of, we'll call it the massacre that occurred to basically reveal this character's true feelings on life. And what they're all about. And until that point, I was just kind of like, what is this character's deal? Like, and I was questioning it up to that episode, just kind of like, man, like, what is this character's deal? Like, I kind of kept going to it. Like, I'm like, I get like where she is in certain things, but I'm like, there's gotta be something more. There's something more to her that we're just not getting. And then that one episode kind of blows up and you're like, oh, wow, that's okay, well, that answers that question really obviously. And yeah, so for me, it was actually a huge surprise. I had no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't know details. I mean, we get major details toward the end of the season that I didn't know.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, I knew the whole time.
Right.
And again, I read it like not like
A spoiler.
some spoilery thing. It was just like, hey, here comes, Boys season 2 and this character is this. And I was like, okay. And then it was apparent to me that, wait, I don't think we were supposed to know that. Like, why did I find this out? Why did a bunch of people, I'm sure, also read this in various places? I don't know. I hate dancing around stuff. When we're trying not to talk about spoilers.
I know. We're doing what we can.
For those who haven't watched it, you're probably, what the hell are they talking about? But anyway.
Overall, I'm with you. I agree. I think the season was a solid season as a whole. For me, just the ending just seemed kind of... up until the last scene of that episode, for the last episode, up to then I was just kind of like, this is kind of, it's all like finalizing and very simplistically solved. Not like it's a mystery, but just kind of ended very like, okay, well I guess that's done. I don't know, but I will say that last scene for that last episode definitely has me going, man, what's this character's deal? I think I even said to David, I would turn to him and I was like, what did I say exactly? I was just kind of like, well, what's the motivation behind this one? And I'm like, well, now I'm super curious. So yeah, no, I'm totally in for season 3 because I'm like, well, I got to find the motivation for this situation. Like, what are these motives? Anyway.
You already talked about it on here, didn't you, Yasha? Or...
Yeah, I finished the season and I know what you're talking about. Honestly, at least I thought I did. I'm pretty sure I do. But it's been so cryptic and you're dancing around so many different points. I'm just having a really hard time interpreting.
I don't think it's spoiler to say that I'm talking about Stormfront. I'm talking about Stormfront.
Okay.
Yeah, David and I are talking about Stormfront.
That's what I figured. Yeah, but I'm with you, David. When I first was looking forward to The Boys and I was reading, I think, something about The Boys. Yeah, that was ruined pretty quickly for me. I was like,
I had no idea.
Everything about her was just it was right away. It was almost the first thing. New character they're introducing, Stormfront, who happens to, and you're just like,
right?
Oh,
exactly.
Okay. I'm like, this would have been such a better reveal in the show. Instead of
I'm super glad I don't read things.
Yeah, I mean, And it wasn't even like
reading
I
it
was
for
digging
weeks,
around
so
trying to
don't worry
find
about it.
information. It was just like, hey,
It was just
Yeah.
kind of
some
casually mentioned.
some kind of random press release kind of material
Exactly.
about the upcoming season, and
That's
that's how
really
she was described. She was
Exactly.
described that she is like this.
That's really shitty for you
Yeah.
guys. I'm sorry. I feel bad
It
that you
was
guys
it,
had that. Really, like, for me, I was watching that scene and
no.
I was like, I just sat there
Yeah,
like,
no shit. Like, I
oh,
mean,
we're going
like
there.
Michelle,
Woo.
seriously, like David has it right. Like, I mean, in the articles that they would read, I read a couple after that, and it's like it was literally like new character introduced who happens to be this, or this character who is this, and it was just like almost nonchalant. It was almost as blatant as like, hey, A-Train happens to be a black guy. Like it was literally
Right.
just right
Right.
there, and you're just
Oh,
like, holy
I feel
shit.
sorry for you guys.
Okay, cool.
I mean, I
Yeah,
don't.
it kind of
You say
sucked
you feel
because it
sorry.
did ruin.
It kind of sucks, but I don't think it was that big of a.
I mean, obviously, because it's like the rest of the season really does focus on that character's thing. So it's not like it's touched on and never touched on again, obviously.
Right.
But no, I mean, I feel bad because I will say like up to that point, I'd been questioning her and what she was about, and obviously you knew. But for me, I was just told like, man, what is this chick's deal? And then
Mhm.
that her chase scene basically after the boy, the brother, that chase scene is occurring and the violence that ensues in that chase scene, the complete unnecessary, unmitigated violence that she unleashes upon these poor people. And I'm like, oh, we're going down that road today.
Yeah, she
Okie
got
dokie.
dark. She was like a slow, steady pace to being dark, and then like out of nowhere, it was just like, yeah, this is what we're doing.
And see, for
Right.
you guys kind of were expecting that. I, on the other hand, was like, holy. And I mean, it's the boys. Obviously, there's huge. When they do a twist on somebody, they go deep, right? Like, we know that. Still, I was like, damn, she just went for that. Okay.
I
We're
think
clear.
on the flip side, though, like since I knew at least kind of her mindset, I was going into the season first of all going, well, how is it that she's in the 7? Like, what is happening
Oh,
here?
yeah.
And then
Yeah.
and then I was also curious to see how that was going to be slowly revealed.
Right.
Since it wasn't obvious up front. It's not like she was introduced, hey, I'm joining the 7 and this is how I think about life.
Right.
So, as stuff started to come out, then it was more and more like, okay, I don't know. That made it entertaining, but still, it was again obvious that this seems like it should have been a you don't know this and it gets revealed later kind of thing, and we knew
Yeah,
Well,
whatever.
agreed.
so, okay, so we can't really talk too much about it, but yeah, like for me, that last scene in the last episode definitely has me going, well, what's that motivate? What's this motivation? What's happening here? Like, dang, it seems so like, what? Really? Okay, all right. Like for me,
No, I'm with you. I mean, but I like that final episode overall. Like I thought it was solid. But I'm also intrigued to see what season 3 has to bring
yeah,
whenever it comes.
Yeah, me too.
The
Yeah, me
Boys
too.
on Amazon. When is season 3 dropping? Is there a date yet?
I don't think so.
No.
I could try to look something up, but I don't think
They
there's.
probably haven't been able to shoot anything, have they?
I mean, well, I don't know if they've started yet or.
Oh yeah, because
I mean,
there's
there's
like
definitely stuff
quarantine.
shooting.
There are things in the world. Yeah, there are things shooting.
I mean, what Mandalorian season 3 I think is reportedly going to start production here pretty soon.
What is excellent segue, David?
Oh, thanks. Not that we're going to talk much about it, but yeah, what? There's been 2 episodes of The Mandalorian so far. You been watching them, Yasha?
Mandalorian season
I've only
2.
finished one episode so far.
Oh, okay.
I've only finished one episode so far, and it took me a week to finish it. So I have not been really on it, if
Bits
you
and
could
pieces
say.
here and there, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying it. Look, my frustration comes in with the storyline is like we get this huge tease at the end and literally go in a completely different direction as to like what the storyline is going to be so far, or at least I don't know. I haven't watched the second episode, so maybe we'll get it. It's fine. It's a lot of nostalgia still when it comes to the storyline. He's on Tatooine. But I mean, aside from that, it's just like it's fine. It's fine. It's a show that I'm invested in and I'll watch. I'm not. I still love all the special effects are awesome.
Mm.
The the new character that they've introduced seems fine and kind of cool. Um, but aside from that, like I'm just like I'm still waiting for a revisit to like the tease that we got at the end of last season, and looking forward to kind of that mixture and toss up being a wrench into his plans or whatever and stuff like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it totally
Yeah.
makes sense. I mean, again, we're only 2 episodes in, and you haven't even seen the second
Yeah,
episode.
I will
correct.
say they don't get into it in the second episode.
No, they don't.
I don't
Uh,
think that they would. I didn't
Just
think
a
that they
heads
would.
up.
I didn't think that they would.
kind of knowing how the first season was. I mean, he kind of has these, each episode kind of stands on its own in a way, even though there is an overarching story. And yeah, there's these kind of side missions throughout that first season. And it seems like the second season is not going to be any different. Um, with that said, I mean, I'm
And
enjoying it
that
so far.
frustrates me.
Yeah, I get why that
I feel like
frustrates
that's
you. I
well,
understand, but
yeah.
I'm sure they'll start touching a little deeper on the overarching story. Probably in the third episode, I could see it kind of hitting a little bit
I
more.
get I get the impression, and I could be totally wrong, that this season will start to touch on larger story arcs more often than that first season did.
Right.
I could be proven wrong, but I think back to the trailer for the whole season and a lot of the stuff we saw. I get the feeling we're not gonna get as much just like random side missions that mean nothing kind of stuff. Like even the
I mean,
second
the tease at the
episode,
end of the
I think the second episode kind of feels that way when you see it, that it's kind of like a random side mission, but even I think things about it are gonna connect to other stuff.
Yeah, it does seem like the second episode does seem like it's its own side mission, and in a way it is, but it's really it's going to start connecting some dots here pretty fast.
Right.
I think. Again, I have a feeling this third episode when it drops is going to be pretty like, whoa, okay, things are lining up.
Yeah. And I don't know, I didn't even check the run times on the first 2 episodes so far. They have felt longer.
The first one felt long. The second one didn't seem as long to me.
I'll have to look.
But no, I will say overall, when it comes to the two episodes that are out, I've actually really enjoyed both of them, and for various reasons. And the second episode does have a different, much different feel than the first episode does. And it's kind of nice. Like there's a lot of nostalgia touches on the second episode that I really enjoy. And now I'm really jonesing for the third episode because the second and third episode really are going to connect a lot. Because in the second episode, it ends well, but it kind of ends on like, oh, well, okay, shit. Let's see where this goes next. And so I'd like to see that kind of conclude. I think that'll be good.
Yeah, the first episode was 52 minutes,
Okay.
which when you look back at that first season, that's definitely longer. And the second episode looks like it was 40 minutes.
Okay.
So still compared to the first season, that's
It's a longer episode.
slightly longer runtime, which is nice. Because again, if that was a complaint I had from the first season, it was just
They were quick.
none of us were expecting this show to have like these kind of 30 sub 30-minute episodes,
Right.
which can be nice. I'm all for shows that are 30 minutes long, but I wasn't thinking this one was going to be that way.
But like at the same time, with that being said, 30 minutes of like having the story move forward. Like
Mm-hmm.
there are plenty of sitcoms and shows that I've watched before in the past, and I'm saying this in regards to this, and I'm not saying this to talk any type of trash, even though normally I would. Like Breaking Bad, to me, when I watched that show, like literally, there were no filler episodes that literally were there to just kind of like, oh well, we need something because we have a 12 episode commitment. We need a show to kind of help carry it along and stretch it out. That's really how I look at when it comes to some of these, some of these shows or some of these sitcoms or some of these dramas, where it's like you're watching it and it's like, okay, well, that was a filler episode. That's what I call them, where it's like nothing really happens until like the last minute and a half of the show. And that's to basically bleed into the next episode. And that's what we're going to watch. And maybe something will happen a little bit more exciting. The fact that, the Mandalorian has, all these little side missions and side jobs and everything like that, that aren't really carrying the story forward, in my opinion. It's more just holding it hostage and holding us hostage in regards to like continuously watching them. It just kind of annoys me. It frustrates me. Like my buddy is a huge Star Wars fan, arguably not nearly as big as, us, or well, maybe you or Bobby, David and Michelle even. But I talked to him about it. He has Disney Plus, and I'm like, hey, have you started watching The Mandalorian? And he's like, honestly, I didn't really get that much out of it the first time around, so there's really no reason for me to kind of like jump on it right now.
Ooh.
And I'm like,
wow.
Yeah, I know, and that's hard to hear, right? Like,
right?
I mean, he's a huge Star Wars fan. Like, anytime the movie comes out or anything like that, he is always one of the first people to go that weekend. But he was just like, I did not get that much out of the first series, and it hasn't gotten me to the point where I'm just like, dude, I got to watch the next episode. So it's like, there's really no reason for me to rush out and do it.
Well, I mean, everyone's different, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you say he's a Star Wars fan, but he's, I guess, not getting anything out of The Mandalorian. When I, as a Star Wars fan, I would say the opposite. Like, when I look at, anyway, like the Disney era of Star Wars, you know, not to get in, not to, again, to rehash stuff about the new trilogy of films, but, you know, I still love Force Awakens, but past that, I'm good. Like, I go back and I still have random thoughts about the final film, and I more and more go, I don't know that I ever want to see it again. Like, I start to just hate it, and then I watch The Mandalorian, and I bring this all up because even like the most recent episode, I'm watching it going, God damn, this is so nice. Like, this so feels like Star Wars, and this just like, this is what I want. Like, even if I don't get a Star Wars movie again for years, give me Star Wars TV like this, and I'm good, man. Like,
You'd be good to go. And I get that.
Yeah.
I get that.
No, I think some people, it's hard because, like, you know, I kind of wonder. Mandalorian is it's very like a Western. It plays out like a Western movie or a Western TV show series. Everything is it's like a Western in space. This is what you're kind of getting, you know? And I know that storylines like that may not appeal to a lot of people. Some people are like, you know, Western movies or Western shows aren't my thing. And if that is the camp they fall in, I can see them watching Mandalorian and being like, it's not my thing. And it's because they don't already like this kind of a genre-esque feel to it. So maybe that's kind of one of the things that's happening, and that wouldn't surprise me at all. But no, I have to agree with David. Like, when I watch Mandalorian, all I'm thinking is, just if you guys can give me more content like this, great. We're gonna have a fabulous relationship moving forward. But if it starts going back sideways again, I'm just gonna be like, it's very frustrating. So right now, like, I'm really curious to see what's gonna happen with the Obi-Wan show, movie, short, mini-series, whatever you want to call it.
Short form, short subject, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm hopeful we're gonna get some solid content like we're getting with Mandalorian. But I'll be honest, I'm trepidatious because the movies haven't done a lot for anybody, I don't think. So yeah. Here's hoping.
And to be clear, like, again, not to rehash things, but I only gave kind of props to Force Awakens, Rogue One as well. If anything, I think Rogue One is probably the best thing they've put out since Disney has acquired.
Yeah, Rogue One was solid.
Rogue One is a solid film. God,
and if anything, it's solid for the last 15 minutes of the fucking movie. Like, I mean, that last 15 minutes is epic.
I mean, for me, Rogue One is great, really the whole way through. And God, yeah, that one was done exceptionally well, especially for being just a one-off. Like, damn. Anyways, Mandalorian season 2, it's out.
Mandalorian season 2 is back Fridays. One of the few things I'm keeping up with.
What else did we do? We watched something else, didn't we?
We did. We watched a couple of things. I'm curious, Yasha, if you watched this one. Did you watch the Borat sequel?
Oh, that's right.
You did. We watched it as well.
I forgot we watched that.
Yes.
I should watch it.
Give it its proper title, Borat subsequent movie film. On Amazon as well. I say as well. We talked about The Boys. First, I'm going to say I actually have never seen Borat. Never saw the first movie.
Which you didn't reveal until after we finished the second one.
Yeah.
So I was really surprised. Because I've even seen the first one.
Really?
I've always liked Sacha Baron Cohen. I like his humor. I've seen tons of clips from Borat. I get what Borat is, but I never actually sat down and watched the movie.
And I bet you if you watch the first one, you'd actually probably enjoy it.
I'll say I'll go ahead and share my piece first on this one. I went into it mostly like, hey, I know the kind of controversy about the end of this movie, and I'm like, I want to see this. And to be clear, I hadn't seen anything about what actually happens at the end of the movie. I know it's out there, I guess, and or at least descriptions of what happens is out there, and I didn't read or see any of it. So I was kind of going into it going, okay, what exactly happens with Giuliani? Like that's what I was mostly going into the movie, like waiting to see. And then when we got there, I was like, holy shit. I was a little shocked, like how far that went. And no, I didn't, like, again, I didn't know. So that was interesting. As for the whole movie, I mean, there's definitely points of the film that I enjoyed and thought were pretty funny. There's other stuff, and a friend had warned me that the movie can be pretty cringe-inducing, and it is. There's scenes that I'm like, oh my God, is this really happening? Like, did they really do this?
Yeah.
And I say that, and I also know, not to say that this is like reality TV making, but kind of along those lines, like how they're accomplishing some of the stuff they're accomplishing in this movie. I don't know. Like, I'm not saying like a lot of it is faked. I don't think any of it's really faked, but there are stuff that I'm like, how did they? That's the movie I want to see. I want to see the behind the scenes movie of them making this film. That's
Right.
what interests me. Like some of the stuff that happens, I'm like, I really wish I knew. Like, how were these people approached about being on camera, and what did they think was going on, and what were they told, and what happened actually afterwards when Borat left the room? And that's the stuff I want to see, because that fascinates me.
Right.
Yeah, overall the movie I thought it was fine. I don't know. It was entertaining, but I didn't find it overly funny. But yeah, to see the finale of that, it's kind of worth it, because that was insane.
Yeah, like I have nothing against Sacha Baron Cohen, but I would say some of his comedy hasn't hit on me the right way a lot of the times. Like that first movie, there's a lot of stuff it's just done to make you cringe, and it's done to make you go, "Oh no, I can't. Oh, train wrecky." And I don't really like that kind of humor that much. And so the first film was kind of like this isn't my thing kind of a movie. And the second one, honestly, overall, I could take it or leave it. It's kind of the same way. There's some cringeworthy stuff that they forced in there to try to make it appeal to certain people. And it's kind of like, yeah, whatever. And I had no idea what was happening at the end of the movie, and David did. And he knew that there was even a Giuliani situation. I didn't even know about that.
Oh, you didn't even know that? Wow.
Remember, I don't read things. I like to keep my life in suspense. I
Very
like
simple.
surprises.
Very simple. I just go in
So,
there.
which is funny. I'm a book nerd, but I don't read about stuff that I'm going to see because I don't want to know. Anyways, no. So it's like, yeah, the build up to this, I'm like, that scene. Oh, ooh. It's that there's a lot to unpackage there, and yeah.
See
But
what you did there.
yeah. No, I'm with David. Like, I want to know how they made the first one and how they made the second one. Like, I want to know the behind the scenes of it all. And you get a glimmer of it. There's an interview that Sacha Baron Cohen did with Stephen Colbert, and he talks about like how they faked the armoire dresser and how there was like a fake backing to it. And so he was in it during all that going down. And he was like, I'm in it, and we were going to have a signal, and I had a phone in case shit got crazy. And then, like, we can stop things, and I'd be the person that would be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And he's like, and get in there, and my phone is on, like, 2% battery. He's like, and I'm locked in, because there's no getting out now. He's like, I was stuck. And he's like, I had no idea what was happening. And he's like, he was like, I hated it because I was nervous because I was not in control of the situation the way I wanted to be in control of the situation. And he was like, I was super, super, super nervous. And then finally somebody kind of came through and like gave some kind of a signal. Like he was talking about how that whole thing went down. I was just like, dude. And I kept saying to David, I think I said it 3 times during the movie. I'm like, I don't know how much this actress got paid, but she had to be paid so well for so many reasons in this film, but especially that last scene. I was like, dang. Anyways,
You're talking about his daughter.
yeah, the actress who plays Borat's
Yeah,
daughter.
she was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
She was
absolutely
amazing.
She was
brilliant.
amazing.
That woman, kudos. And for the things that she was willing to do and the things that she was, all of it. So, no, like, do I love the movie? No, but it's worth a watch just to see that stuff unravel. It was very like, holy cow. So, anyways, no, that's my 2 cents.
What'd you think, Yasha?
Her name is Maria Bakalova, and she's from Bulgaria.
She was awesome.
Very small, getting started. She was when it comes to films, but she is definitely probably going to get some more work as of now. She was absolutely
She'll be
brilliant.
going places very quickly.
Yeah.
What did I think? I mean, there are parts of his comedy, and I can appreciate his talent. I think he's fantastic. In certain, especially when he's just acting. Like, I think he's really good when he's just acting. Like, if you watch the Chicago 7, he was really, really good in that. I saw the first one and I thought the first one was okay. I thought it was funny. It had its moments, but it did have that shock value, which is what he goes for when it comes to his comedy. And he did not sway from that in any way, shape, or form for this film. I enjoyed a lot of it, save maybe the one room scene, the dancing. Aside from that, like, I didn't really need that scene there. I felt like that was a little bit much, but I understand kind of why he did it, especially to the people that he did it to. But I mean, I thought for the most part, I was watching it with my buddy, and we were both sitting there and we were busting up through the whole thing. Like, I mean, we're just like, it was cringing to just like, I can't believe is he gonna do this? And then like certain things where it's like, you see where the joke is going to go. Like, he plants the seed and I'm like, he's not gonna do, yep, that's exactly what he's doing. Oh my God. And he's talking to this person about it. Similar to what you were saying, one of the when it comes to like him revealing how they did it, the one scene where he goes and he's talking to the Jewish women, I'm just going to say it, that scene, that was the only scene that was in the movie that was actually staged. Those women knew exactly who he was and knew exactly what he was doing. And I think that's probably because his wife is Jewish and I think he's Jewish as well.
I think he is actually.
Yeah, I think he's Jewish, but I know his wife is Jewish. And I don't think he wanted to have that conversation when he went home at dinner.
Well, that, like, the permission to go into the synagogue alone with cameras, and then also just like, if nobody knew, the people would have thrown him out of that synagogue in a freaking heartbeat.
So quickly. Yeah. So
No, that's not surprising. Like you saying, it's staged. Just the way the women are sitting there when he walks in, it did feel a little like.
Yeah, it was a little,
but it was a
little
good scene,
bit
though.
like.
No, it is a good scene.
Oh, no,
and one of those two women have passed away, didn't she?
Oh, really?
I think so,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think
that's terrible.
Yeah, and I think if you watch the movie through the credits, there's a kind of like a frame
dedicated
still,
and loving
like
memory
dedicated
type
to
of thing.
her, like shows a picture of her. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I enjoyed it for the most part. I mean, I don't think I ever really need another one. Will I go back and like, hey, will I go back and be like, hey, you know what we should watch tonight? Fucking Borat, subsequent movie film. Like, who's on board? No, that's never going to be a thing. But it does make for a good story and definitely a good water cooler conversation where you're just like, dude, have you seen this yet? Like, this is insane.
Yeah.
And yeah, just the fact that they kind of lead into the movie with him trying to go back to America and actually him being on the street and people just chasing him down.
Yeah, that was funny.
Because he's dressed as Borat. That was fantastic. And that was really fun. You know, and it's like that really played to the story and to the character. Oh, another one when he went and he was dressed as Trump at the Pence speech. Like, he hid in the bathroom for like 12 hours to be able to do that, like 8 hours or something like that. Like, I read that he he was literally just hanging out until Pence came out on stage forever. And then
Oh
when he
my
finally did, like
God.
it definitely played. And I'm surprised that he didn't get like, I'm surprised he didn't get shot. Like, I mean, he did say that he was afraid at times that he was going to get shot, and you can kind of see it in some of the films. It's like he. I remember reading. He said he had a bulletproof vest on for some of the things because he was like, if I go out there, they're going to kill me. Like,
I'm
like these
surprised he
people are
wasn't
definitely going
arrested
to
for
kill
the
me.
convention situation. I was
I mean,
surprised.
he probably,
I
in
kind of
all
assumed
honesty, he
he was
probably did get
arrested and
arrested.
he just,
like,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
like
think he
that
probably did
was
get arrested.
yeah.
Yeah,
I would
but
I would
it
think
was fine.
so.
Yeah, it was fine. I enjoyed it. I definitely, yeah, there was parts of it I really did enjoy. Like that chick that played his daughter was absolutely brilliant. She was
No, she
so
totally was.
so good. It was weird. Like she did it so well. Like such a great young actress. Like I really hope she gets some more work. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I think we'll be seeing her around between what the skill that she went down with in this film, which she was really awesome as a whole, just
mhm.
front to end, of her character that film.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I think we're going to see some more stuff coming from her. She was quite spectacular. It was a really great find on his behalf, on Sasha's end. Like she
Mhm.
was an excellent find. He's very lucky to have gotten that actress.
Other thing that Michelle and I saw, last thing really, I guess, over the past couple of weeks, we watched The Witches, which is
Oh
on
yeah.
HBO Max. Looks like Yasha, you probably
Yep,
watched it as well.
I did.
You were pretty pumped about it, Michelle. Like, I guess you were a huge fan of the, I guess you would call it the original
Yeah.
version of Witches.
Yeah. I mean, when I was a kid, so The Witches is based off of a Ronald Dahl book, and there was a movie that came out somewhere in the '80s starring Angelica Houston, and it takes place in Europe. And I was a kid growing up in Europe, and so like for me, it really kind of stood out. It was like, oh, they're at this really cool hotel in Europe. And like, that's how a lot of the hotels in Europe look. Like, when you go, you're like, yeah, that's what they look like. So, the situation when I was that age, because I was the age the boy was in the film, like, for me, that movie scared the crap out of me. Because one, it was scary. Like, they were scary witches. And two, it was just like, this could totally happen. Like, this could actually be real. And like, when I was a kid, I was like, you mean this could be a thing? Like, I'm a kid. I don't know. But it was one of those movies that like it scared me, but like I love to watch it at the same time. Like even though it would scare me, I would just kind of keep watching that movie. Anyway, so I loved it. And then I think at some point, as weird as it is, later down the road, probably like middle school, then I think I actually read the book, and I actually really enjoyed the book a lot too. I like a lot of Ronald Dahl books. So I was looking forward to this remake, not remake, but I guess just retelling of the story. And I'll say, like, I enjoyed it. I think Anne Hathaway did a spectacular job as the main witch, as the queen witch. She was excellent, I think. I think she did a really good job. I don't think you can compare her to Angelica Houston. I think they both kind of stand on their own, but I think she did a really great job. Like, she was very quirky and funny when she would have to deliver kind of the funnier things, weird things that she would say. And then like the story itself really follows the book really well. Like the original movie kind of, I wouldn't say drifts away. There's a lot of stuff that the original movie doesn't get into or doesn't show in the film that happens in the book. Well, in this one, they do have that kind of stuff happen. So you do get to get more story out of this film for sure. No, I really liked it. I thought it was really cute. I thought it was a nice, like, up to date retelling of it. And I say up to date, it takes place in the 60s, 70s, I think. So, it's kind of like it's during a certain time period setting, but it's a more modern telling of it in a way. And I really liked it. I thought everybody was really great. Even Octavia Spencer, and then the little boy who plays her grandson, he was really cute, really sweet. Overall, like, it was just kind of a fun one. It was a fun telling of this story. And it's funny. Like, I was kind of waiting for this. There's a moment, when they finally kind of, the witches kind of get their comeuppance, and I was kind of waiting for it because I could tell, like, because we were watching it with David's kids, and they were kind of getting kind of trepidatious about the situation. And then that happened, and at first they were almost kind of scared, and then they started laughing, and I was like, "There it is. There's the relief that I was waiting for because I knew it was going to happen. Like eventually they were going to be like, "Oh, this is funny," and I'm like, "Yes," and then they started laughing and they enjoyed it. So it was a good evening.
Yeah, it was I guess 1968 is the movie time
Oh, okay,
period
yeah.
the movie's placed in. Anyway, Yasha, what do you think of the movie?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to add other than from what Michelle just said. I mean, she raised so it's like following Bobby when we agree so much on film
Sorry.
sometimes. No, it's okay. I enjoyed it. I thought it was fine. I mean, it was cute little story. I remember the first one. I remember the first one being a little bit more graphic for whatever reason, but maybe it was just
Yeah.
me. But I think it was a little bit more practical application when it came to some of the makeup opposed to the special effects and the CGI that they did this time. But that's really the only difference that I can remember. I feel like I want to go back and watch the original Witches because I
Me too.
just to see it because it's now that's being offered on Netflix because HBO Go is offering the new one, so they're like, okay, well, we're gonna put the old one up there and try to steal some people or get some of that nostalgic runtime. But it was fine. I enjoyed it. It was a good movie. Like I did. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I've never seen the original film. I haven't read the book, but overall, I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was fun. I was mostly just curious to see what my kids would think of it, and they seemed to enjoy it for the most part. But I kind of didn't really know what I was getting into, and overall, I liked it. I mean, kind of like you just said, Yash, I don't really have much else to add. But if you're looking for kind of a family friendly movie that, if it was, if Halloween hadn't passed already, I'd recommend it as kind of a Halloween watch, but you could watch this whenever. It doesn't
Hmm.
really matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on HBO Max. I liked it.
It's a fun family film. It's a fun little family story. And does it have like some aspects that are a little scary to kids? Yeah, but there's enough of the comic relief kind of moments that occur that kind of relieves that pressure for kids. And it's scary to a point. Like it's not like the stuff of nightmares are made of. It's like, oh, whoa, that's kind of, oh, my walls are going up. But then there'll be like a moment of humor pretty shortly after, and they're like,
Hmm.
okay, my trepidation walls are back down. Okay, everything's fine. And I think that's what I remember as a kid. Kind of like it was kind of spiking up and down watching that film, and even watching it with your
Hmm.
kids, David. Like especially your little one, she was kind of up and down. There was times where she was kind of like, "Oh, I think I'm getting scared. This is kind of freaking me out. This is kind of freaking me out." But then like a little comedic relief kind of comes, and she'd start laughing and giggling, and then she'd be fine. So it's a good one for kids because I think it's a good like scary movie introduction kind of in a way.
Yeah.
So no, I think it was really cute. I think they did a really good job with it.
So yeah, that's The Witches on HBO Max. As we're wrapping things up, Yasha, anything else you watched you wanted to talk about? Real quick, I wanted to ask you, we were talking about Sacha Baron Cohen. It sounds like you watched the trial of the Chicago Seven.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
can't
did.
believe that I had the choice of two Sacha Baron Cohen films, and I chose the Borat sequel and not
The
the Aaron
Borat
Sorkin
sequel.
film. I've yet to
Yeah,
watch an Aaron Sorkin movie, and it's a little weird, but it will happen. What did you think of it?
fantastic movie.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic movie, very true to form when it comes to Sorkin. Great dialect or dialogue, I should say, throughout the entire film. Lots going on, and the fact that this is based off of a true story is really what's messed up about it. And there's a lot of it's so sad and so scary, but it's like you sit there and you watch. It's like, yeah, that looks like it happened just yesterday, and it's something that happened back in the '60s, and it's reinvigorated a lot of interest in like some of that era for me when it came, like especially the character that Sacha Baron Cohen plays. Like he was a comedic slash political um, activist, and I was like, oh, I wonder what he's doing now because some of these people are still alive, some of these people are still working government, that sort of thing. And I was like, oh, he killed himself after he wrote his first and only book, and I'm like, oh, Well, now it's like kind of like got me interested. It's like I kind of want to read his book, or at least learn a little bit more about him. It's just like some of the things that these characters are, these people, I should say, since they're based on real people. It was really interesting what they were going after and what they were fighting for, and it's not much has changed in the retrospect of what I feel like today is sometimes. But it was damn good. It was a damn good movie. I would definitely recommend watching it. I think you'll enjoy it because I enjoyed the hell out of it. It's very Sorkin-esque, if you would, when it comes to like what I know that you like when it comes to his writing and stuff. So I don't see you not enjoying it because I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I need to see it like ASAP.
Yeah, we're slackers.
Yeah. Anything else you saw you wanted to talk about?
Real quick, I'll talk about the Queen's Gambit. That
Oh
is
yeah.
Yeah.
just recently started with Anya Taylor-Joy taking the lead as Beth Harmon, and I'll just read you the IMDb tidbit that they have. Orphaned at 9, prodigious introvert Beth Harmon discovers and masters the game of chess in 1960s USA, but child stardom comes at a price. Now, I'll say this because it doesn't really give much away when it comes to if you watch the trailer, but it looks like she has a really hard time battling addiction. So that's kind of where this movie takes into account as well. And the people around her and some of the people that, surround her. And it's like she's in a world where it's very dominated by men, especially in the 60s, where she's supposed to play happy homemaker and just be at the house and everything like that. And that's just not who she is. That's not what she's about. And it's not that she has a very strong personality, but she does have a very strong presence, especially when it comes to being on the chessboard. And the fact that she starts taking people out when she's like 11 is it's brilliant. It's brilliantly written. It's just really interesting to watch. It's a period piece that I think we can all appreciate sometimes when it comes to the costume decoration and the set pieces that are really fun to look at. But it's just really, really interesting story. Like they do a really good job with it. So I'm all in. We're gonna finish it, and yeah.
Is that a one-off like
I
kind
don't
of
know. It says
season situation? I got the impression it was, but maybe
I
I'm wrong.
I think it is. I
it
started
looks like
watching
it might
it.
be.
Yeah, I started watching it. I've got 2 or 3 episodes in.
Okay.
And there's only like I think 8 or 9.
7.
7, yeah.
There are
So
7.
it's
Yeah.
pretty short because it spans the main portion of her life. And yeah, it's mainly about the big thing is definitely the addiction to drugs and alcohol and the battle that she goes through and balancing that and then being this chess prodigy and her life choices and decisions that she makes, and how basically everybody controls her and takes advantage of her, but she allows that in a way because it's a means to an end for her. I'm looking forward to finishing the series because I think it's done extremely well. I think the storyline is going really well, and I like the way they're kind of unfurling the story in a way. But no, yeah, it's like you're saying, like the set pieces are amazing, but also like there's moments where they kind of in a way get in her head and kind of showcase what she's kind of going in her head, how she thinks about things and how she analyzes a situation, and even with the chessboard. And I think that's done really well. It projects really well as the story is kind of moving along. No, I'm really enjoying it. I think Anna Taylor-Joy is a really great actress. I think she's just going to keep doing other amazing things as she gets older. She's definitely on a really great ride right now of her life as far as
She's really
characters
good
that
in
she's going to
this.
get. Yeah, scripts that she's going to get. She's just going to keep building. It's going to be good for her. This I can see, come award series time. Yeah, she's probably going to the show and then she are going to get nominated for some stuff for certain. It's a good one. I'm enjoying it. I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
finishing it.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, it's so weird the different angles and the different directions that they take with the addiction. Because I almost feel like chess is her addiction as well when it
Hmm.
comes to that. And when people, I don't know if like you use the word using, and I would actually like say something about that. It's like using it, but it's like I don't know, like is it using if somebody really doesn't care what you're asking for, like when it comes to that, like especially, I know what you're talking about. I don't want to give too much away here, so I don't want to have this huge depth in
Right.
conversation. But it is a thinker. Like it is a really interesting drama, and I mean I'm really digging it a lot. Honestly, I'll probably finish it tonight. Like that's how I'm on episode 6 out of 7. And if it's just
Oh,
a one
you're
off,
knocked
like
out.
yeah, and you'll find this interesting. I was just looking it up. Alan Scott is one of the writers and creators of the show. He also wrote the original Witches from 1990.
Wow. Huh.
Yeah.
Fun fact, kids.
So I just thought, fun fact, kids. Yeah, I think his brother, Scott Frank, and Scott Frank was the other writer. He wrote Logan, Out of Sight with George Clooney and Jennifer Lopez, which was just a fucking terrible ass movie. But he also wrote Minority Report.
Yeah, Minority
Um,
Report's it's going.
I I liked Minority Report, but Out of Sight was absolutely trash. Like that was just a horrible. Like,
And I feel like
uh,
that needs to be a side conversation
Yeah.
sometime.
I mean, I remember watching it before I was even really, I mean, I'm into movies and I was into movies then, but it's like I'm more into it now. And I remember watching it when I was younger and I walked out and was like, that was horrible. Like that was so bad. Like it was
Yeah,
convoluted. It was all over the place. It was misconstrued. It like
it was
had no real
basically
basis.
it was basically a Clooney Lopez thirst trap.
Yeah. Like if
I
you like
liked it.
this, like go in. Oh,
And I'm
it
not a
was-
Lopez fan. Trust me. I think we've talked about that
Yeah.
before. I'm not a big
Right.
Jennifer Lopez fan, but I don't know. I enjoyed the movie.
I was gonna say it's been a long time since I've watched it, and I remember, I did enjoy the movie. I didn't think it was anything spectacular to write home about, but I remember
No.
enjoying it. But like looking back on it, I'm like, it does kind of seem a little bit Clooney Lopez thirst trappy, but it's fine.
It was directed by Staudenberg. I didn't know that. Like
Yeah.
I'm looking it up right now, but it's like, and maybe I'll revisit it when I have some time. But when I remember watching it, I was like, this is not good. Like, this is not great.
Well, Queen's Gambit is good, and
Yes,
I
going
definitely
back to what we were
recommend
talking about. Yeah, 100%. If you're looking for an engaging drama, like there's a lot of aspects to this show and a lot of moving pieces. Dun-dun-dun.
Yep.
See what I did there?
That's so much
And, but it's invigorated my interest in chess. That's for sure. Like, I mean, I know how to play, but it's like I'm like interested in learning about it. Like, it's just brilliant and amazing how many different, moves and theories that they have for this, and the
Oh,
fact that
yeah.
it's been around since the 7th century, I think they said, or like it's been around forever. Like
Yeah.
this game has been around since the Persian Empire, is what they said when I was reading about it. And then when it got absorbed into Europe, it just spread like wildfire. Like this is the next best thing. Can you imagine having that conversation with somebody who's like, have you guys played this game chess? Oh my God, it's mind blowing. Like, I mean, can you imagine? Like,
Yeah.
it's just like that kind of excitement, but it's been around forever. Like, that's what's crazy to me. And people are still trying to figure out different ways and different traps and different moves. And they kind of dive into a lot of that with the show. And it's just so damn good.
No, it's really good. I'm looking forward to finishing it up.
If only there were kind of an equivalent. Now it's like, man, have you played Cards Against Humanity?
Right?
Yeah.
There was a time when chess was like exciting for the world, and now it's like, man, if you've been on TikTok,
Yeah.
Yeah, dude,
Anyway.
it's
The
so
things
great.
are
You
so-
get to watch people just dance for like 30 seconds.
The changes in our
mind-blowing.
society norms.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So
No
real
kidding.
quick, since we're kind of on the Netflix boat, did you watch the trailer for season 4 of The Crown yet? Hello. That
I haven't even
happened.
watched season 1 of The Crown.
yeah, I didn't think you had seen any of it.
You haven't watched any of The Crown?
And that's not to say that I haven't wanted to, but it's like I'm interested in watching it because I would love to, kind of check into some of that because it looks fantastic, but I don't know, I just haven't.
Man, I'm not about to give you shit for not watching anything. So
I don't want
Thank
to
you.
give you
dude.
shit, but I
Thank
mean,
you.
I highly
You watch
recommend.
what you want to watch, man.
I highly recommend. He's trying to dig himself out here. I
Yeah.
highly recommend
Just
it.
backpedal really
The
quick.
show is written and executed just
Uh,
brilliantly. But no, the full trailer for season 4 dropped on Netflix, and I gotta tell you, because it's like we're getting into the era
Our lives,
of
really.
our lives, of our being on this earth in
Right.
in the situation of the royal family, and so it's like we're getting into this era, and I'm just like, oh, here we go. This is gonna get it's gonna get good.
right on.
I'm excited.
Yeah, that
Right
drops
on.
soon. It's this month, isn't it?
Yeah, Thanksgiving week, I think. That was
Sorry,
my little
I could
pitch.
understand the high pitch.
Yeah. Yeah. A little
Excitement
octave high. I
voice.
think only dogs
No,
heard that.
Thanksgiving weekend, yeah.
I think it's Thanksgiving weekend. That it's dropping, and yeah, like I can't wait. Like the trailer's just done really well. Like the song track they even had for it was just such a good 80s choice, and I was just like, this is it just the feels, this is the era that we know in our lives. This is the entrance of Diana, possibly the
Hmm.
exit of Diana. Like we're getting all of this. It's coming. This is the stuff that we kind of know, and I'm like, oh,
And
I cannot wait.
it's not even that far away. It's a week from today.
Oh, it's not even Thanksgiving.
No, I think
Week
it's
before.
November 15th, I believe.
Woo! That's Wednesday,
Oh
isn't
boy.
it?
No, it's Sunday.
Sunday.
Week from today.
Sunday, Sunday, Sunday.
Sunday.
Sundays have been a pretty good day the past few Sundays, my opinion.
You guys, there's some stuff that I watched.
Whoa.
We have a
Bobby
surprise
Jackson.
person.
It's the creepy voice.
Bobby Jackson chiming in, coming out of nowhere.
We
No,
can't see Bobby, but we can hear
We
him.
can hear him.
I didn't get a chance to do my setup because basically the reason I couldn't join earlier is because they're doing some construction work right outside my window and it's really loud. So there was no way I could have recorded. But it seems like they just shut down for the day. So it's like, oh, maybe I can join for a few minutes. And I've been watching the whole time, but then I just joined maybe about 15 minutes ago. But you guys
And
were
you've
in
been
the middle,
like
so I didn't
lingering
want to
around,
jump
just
in.
creeping.
He's just been waiting. He's
Yeah.
just been
That's
buying
not
his
creepy at all,
time. He's
man.
like,
It's
someone
not
to get in
creepy at
there.
all.
I thought maybe that David could see like a notification or something if I come
No.
into
No.
the chat. But
still just see a
apparently
black-
because you never
I
reacted.
just see a black screen for your camera, so no
Yeah.
idea. Now
Yeah.
I see your audio meter bouncing around, but
Yeah. But yeah, I watched a ton, but I'm only going to talk about a couple things because I know it's running late. But I watched a whole bunch of stuff over Halloween weekend, and one thing I wanted to see is something that was on my list of things I haven't seen. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Oh, you
And
watched it. Yeah.
I did, and it's a pretty amazing film in a lot of ways, in the way it looks at mental health, and the thing that I pulled from it that I feel is probably controversial and a hot take is I really didn't feel like Nurse Ratched was like bad. I think I wouldn't say she gets a bad rap, but I felt like there was no evil intent there. And I think I went into it thinking she was this big evil character and purposefully doing things in a way that just felt malicious. And really, when I saw it, it felt like she was mostly just this sort of control freak kind of person that was being pushed over the edge and nudged by Jack Nicholson's character a lot. And it was this game of one-upmanship. Like he wanted to disrupt her thing and then, okay, you pushed me this far. Now I'm going to get you back kind of thing. And there was other aspects in which she's not a good social worker or nurse in a conventional sense in terms of really trying to help these people. But I guess I just didn't feel like she was this evil person per se. And I think that goes against what I've seen because I think there was a list of top villains and she was listed as number 2 or 3 in terms of top villains. So it was just interesting because I almost just felt like she's partially a product of her time in the way that they treated a lot of mentally ill back then. and that she was just part of that system. But I didn't necessarily get the sense that she was super bad, other than a couple really bad things that she did that I felt like were inexcusable. But other times it felt like she was being pushed into a specific way, mostly by Jack Nicholson's character goading her. But yeah, I did finally get a chance to watch it and enjoyed it. And the other thing that I started watching, and it sort of is a thing that I've really kind of come up across within the last maybe week or two, is that quietly and low key, I honestly feel like HBO Max is probably my second favorite streaming service at this point, because there's so much I tend to watch on HBO Max if it's not on Netflix. It seems to be my go-to because there's obviously Lovecraft Country that just ended that was on there. And now a new show just started right up after that ended, which is this Nicole Kidman movie, a show with Hugh Grant called
Oh
The
yeah.
Undoing. And that's pretty interesting. I've only seen the first episode. I think episode 3 is airing tonight. And the real quick premise of it is that she's a psychologist and and they're married, and he's a doctor, and she is living this really posh life in upstate New York, and she has this circle of friends, and some other new female comes into their group, a young mother, and something ends up happening to that young mother that sort of sends everything into a spiral, and it gets really crazy within the like last 5-6 minutes of the episode of the show, that makes you wonder what's really going on here. And it just becomes this sort of mystery of like what happened, one, with this young mother, but then two, what else is going on around it. And it really pulled me in, and I'm anxious to see where that show goes, because it's been pretty good just within that first episode, the way they set it up. And Nicole Kidman, she's like, I don't know if I wouldn't say I wouldn't say she's underrated, but she's been just sort of knocking it out of the park lately with a lot of different shows and stuff that she's been doing. She may not have been doing as many movies in recent years, but as far as TV goes, she's really been killing it. So I would recommend that for anyone that's into the the HBO dramas. This seems like another one in line to be one of their good ones. And I haven't heard too many people talking about it yet, but I like this first episode, so I'm going to continue on with it.
I've been really curious about that show, and without even seeing this one, I have to agree with you. Like, I don't think Nicole Kidman is an underrated actress. I think that for many years she's had some really great roles her way, and she's had some really not great roles her way. And I think it
Hmm.
just kind of depends on what she's in. Like, there's times she really shines, and there's times she's kind of fades into the background a little bit. And I think it's just mostly choice. But I will say, like, I agree with you. I think when she gets to have a role where she is like with Big Little Lies, she
Right.
gets to spend a lot of time in this character. She gets to really sink herself into it. And I
Hmm.
think when she has the time to allow herself to really get deep into a character and be at one with it, I think she really executes well. So I'm
Yeah.
I'm thinking that not that she's not a good film actress, but I feel like she's really shining in TV right now, and I feel like
Yeah,
it's
for
because
sure.
she might just get a little more time to sit in with that character that she's building. So because she is a
Yeah.
really good actress when she's, I think, allowed to have that time.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I was watching on HBO Max is, as we all know, DC Universe has sort of folded into
Yeah.
HBO Max, and will be pretty much null and void as of next year, and it'll just be a comic service. But one of the shows that I'd always wanted to watch, even back when it was on DC Universe, that I never had a chance to watch, is Titans, and I'm about 4 episodes into that, and I've been enjoying it so far. It to me, Titans has the vibe, look, and feel of a show that's sits somewhere in the middle between The Boys, which is on the higher end in terms of this kind of ultra violent and you know graphic language type show of a superhero nature, and then on the lower end would be CW stuff. So this sort of fits somewhere in between those two, and right sort of in the middle of that. And there's absolutely that feel and familiarity you get with some of these characters that if you've read the comics, you kind of know some of them and the look of them. And they're doing a good job of nailing the design and look of the characters, and the some of the backstories and what they're doing with them is slightly different, but still has that spirit of the character enough to me to where it feels kind of fresh and not like you're just retreading what you know from the comics. And so I'm really looking forward to getting through the first season and on into the second season, because one of the characters I know that comes in the second season is Deathstroke and also Superboy. And so I'm looking forward to that. And then third season comes out next year. So they've already started leaking some of the images, promotional images from that. That's got me interested in that as well. So yeah, I'm happy to have another comic book show on that, even though it's been out for a while, I hadn't seen it. So it's sort of scratching that itch for me right now.
Nice.
Nice.
Oh yeah, I just finished it. I just watched it just a few weeks ago, a few months ago.
Yeah.
And Bobby's, it's fantastic. I was really excited for you to watch it, Bobby. It's so good. Like I got really cracked out on it. Like I'm really excited to see what they do on the third season and continue watching it. And it wasn't even on HBO Max when I was watching it. I was watching it on Amazon. Like they made you buy it.
Mm.
Like so now that it's offered on Amazon or HBO Max, I think that's great that they're trying to like finally fold in everything, which is what they should do. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Any quick last things, Bobby, before we wrap things up?
Yeah, well, really quickly, I will say I'm somewhere in the middle between you, Michelle, and Yasha when it comes to this season of Mandalorian so far. I do wish that the story narrative, overall narrative, was pushed a little bit more. Mostly within the second episode, I kind of had a feeling when we came back from the first episode that it would probably not be connected to where it left off. I just had that feeling. But I did kind of thought that maybe the second episode would get into it. That being said, I still enjoy it. A little concerned that the child takes so much joy in eating the last of a species. But aside from that, I mean, I think there's elements of it that I still really enjoy, especially with the budget that they seem to have with this second season. It just looks so top notch, and
It
yeah,
does.
it's gorgeous. It's just a gorgeous,
really is.
gorgeous show, and I've been really enjoying that. And then I think aside from that, that's pretty much all I got.
Nice. Well, hopefully we can all be on next weekend on camera. We can continue to play catch up with a lot of stuff we probably watched over the past couple of weeks, and then move forward. Also, there was a bunch of news we haven't even touched on.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's still plenty to talk about. That's what happens when you take a couple weeks off, but it is what it is.
I mean, it was Halloween weekend.
It was Halloween weekend.
Were we really gonna do a video?
You never know.
Eh.
It didn't happen. But yeah, with that, we are going to wrap things up. As always, we would love to hear back from everyone listening and watching. First of all, if you're watching on YouTube, obviously you can comment down below. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed the show, and hit subscribe. And if you really want to get crazy, hit that bell icon and you can be notified whenever we post any videos or go live in the future. You can also email us at feedback@flickereffect.com or reach out to us on Instagram and Twitter. That is at flicker_effect. With that, I'm David Lott.
I'm Bobby Jackson.
I'm Yasha Wilson.
And I'm Michelle Hillard.
Thanks for listening and watching. Make that stop.